Before we get started in today's video, I want to say a huge thank you to you guys, my subscribers. We did hit 30,000 followers this week. That's just mind-blowing to me. I've never thought this is gonna come up to this, and who knows how it's gonna go in the future. Big milestone for me, 30,000 subscribers. That's it's mind-blowing, but we are here, and I want to say thank you for everybody who supported. I want to do a Facebook Live, not a Facebook, a YouTube Live here to celebrate with you guys. You know, have a great conversation, sit down one night here in the front porch, drink some sweet tea, drink some coffee, just have a good time. So stay tuned for that. But today's video is a good one. I talk about tomatoes and farmers markets, so let's go ahead and get started. Hey y'all, Farmer Dre back at us on a beautiful hot day here on the farm. I think today's the hottest day of the year here. It's currently 98 degrees outside. It's more towards the afternoon here, but super hot, super humid. But anyways, today I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys 5 little tricks where you can sell more tomatoes at farmers market. So this time of year, especially here in Southwest Missouri, like I like to say, everybody and their grandma has tomatoes. You know, everybody who planted a garden this time of year has tomatoes. All the farmers who planted field tomatoes have tomatoes this time of year. So everybody has tomatoes at farmers market. And today I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys and share some of my 5 experiences and some of my ideas that you guys can sell more tomatoes at farmers market, and how we sell more tomatoes at farmers market this time of year whenever there's an abundance and whenever everybody has tomatoes at their stand. First thing is having good quality tomatoes and good flavor, but this is where quality comes in handy, and this is why we strive as farmers to have the best looking produce out there. So here on our farm, we realized a few years ago that people buy with their eyes. So if it's not a pretty product, if it's not something that's real dark red and just absolutely perfect, people don't really care. They don't really want to buy a product that's not 100%, that it's not as the best it can be. So the biggest thing and the first noticeable thing is make sure you have a really high quality product, beautiful tomato, only #1s, and of course then whenever they try that tomato, to have the best flavor and to have the best texture as possible. And that's when variety selection comes in handy. As most of you guys know, here on our farm, we do grow mainly Red Deuce as our red tomato. We do grow some other varieties, but that's a tomato we found that our customers like, that we like to grow. We love growing it. I love growing it. It's the best tomato out there in my opinion. Has real good flavor. There's also some other perks to that variety, but you know, make sure that variety you're growing is absolutely phenomenal. Best tomato on the market, best flavor wise, just so that whenever that customer first, you could have once the customer comes up to your stand and you have the prettiest product, you know, they buy it once because it's so pretty, they try it and it is absolutely amazing. So flavor and quality of the fruit is #1 on the list. So the second way you can sell more tomatoes at farmers market is pricing, and I get a little bit of beef for this and a little bit of flack for this, but in my honest opinion, and we've experienced this at farmers market, if you're the cheapest guy selling tomatoes in the market, you're probably not going to sell out. And hear me out. I know people are going to say, what is wrong with you? If I have a cheaper product, I'm going to sell much more tomatoes. There's a yes and a no for that. For us here on our farm, we do grow a lot of tomatoes. We have 3 high tunnels full of tomatoes on this side. We have one on Val's place, so we grow a lot of tomatoes, anywhere from 40 to 50,000 pounds of tomatoes a year. And you know, after growing tomatoes for 3 to 5, 6 years, you start realizing that you gotta be able to make something off your plant. You know, everybody can sell tomatoes at $1 a pound, so that's why not everybody does it. So we are currently at $3.25 a pound, and I'm fully aware that we are the highest in the entire market. Everybody else is at $2.75, $2.50, $3, and we're sitting at $3.25. And you know, people might look at us like, man, what are these guys doing? But looking from the customer perspective, and as a customer, you know, if they are wise and understand and are willing to spend their money on good quality stuff, they don't mind spending a few extra cents a quarter on a product, knowing that it's going to be a whole lot better and it's gonna have the quality that it needs. For example, I was out just 2 hours ago. I was out buying oil and filter for the equipment here on the farm, and the guy was like, yeah, I got this for $10 a filter, or do you want that for 15? I was like, well, I'm a man that once I do something, I'm like my dad used to say, I'm too poor to buy the cheap stuff. So you buy the little more expensive stuff knowing that it's a much better quality, it's gonna last a whole lot longer, and if the farmer places a price at a certain thing, then he knows what it's worth. So that's why we are higher than everybody else in the market. We are currently sitting at $3.25 a pound, and our customers really appreciate that, and they are willing to pay the extra knowing that my tomatoes are the best tomatoes in the entire farmer's market. So at the end of the day, don't cut yourself in the foot. Don't cut yourself short. I mean, I'm having a problem here speaking. Anyways, just don't underprice yourself. I know how much time and energy goes into growing tomatoes. It's not easy. It's hard enough growing them than picking them, packing them, and selling them. And I see this too often where everybody's got tomatoes in the farmer's market, and the price war start. Everybody believes that if they're cheaper, they're gonna sell more. And in our experience, you don't. You got your own customers. If you attract them with a good quality, good flavored tomato, then your customers are going to come to you regardless, and they appreciate your product a little more if they're paying more for it. So the biggest thing is pricing for us here on our farm. If you price your tomatoes right, you will sell more. The third step, or the third thing you can do to sell more tomatoes at farmers market, and this is all about the display at your stand, at your booth, at the market, is what I like to call pile them high and watch them fly. So if you guys ever seen any pictures of us setting up at farmers market or going to farmers market, you know that we are very proud of our tomatoes. So by meaning that whenever we go to market, I make sure I have at least a 6-foot table just filled with tomatoes. If you have anything less than that, don't even bother. That's how I look at it. I see so many customers, or other vendors, they go out and they put, they have so much product, they grow everything under the moon, and they think if they grow more of different varieties and more of different things, they're gonna make more at the end of the year, but they don't specialize. And customers don't wanna walk into someone's booth and be confused. They don't wanna be exhausted of the ideas and how much product you have. You wanna keep it short, simple, and sweet. So pile them high and watch them fly is my saying. You'll probably hear that in other places, but whenever we go to market, we dedicate a 6-foot table or 8-foot table full of tomatoes, and we pile them. We pile them high just so that the customers, whenever they pull into the parking lot, depending on what type of farmer's market you go to, they're gonna go, you know what, that guy has a lot of tomatoes, it doesn't look like he's gonna sell out, so I'm gonna go to this guy because he has a lot. And that's why whenever you build your customers over and over the years, they know and they understand your product. So pile them high and watch them fly. That's what we go by. So like I said, 6-foot table, 8-foot table, just filled with tomatoes. And funny story, so a few years ago, I was selling tomatoes at the farmer's market, and you know how I do it. We fill tables full of tomatoes at our booth. And the farmer's market I was attending that afternoon was right next to the main road there in town. And one of my dad's friends was driving down the road, and he pulls through town, driving by slowly. And there was a line of people standing next to some tents there, and he didn't know what was going on. So he pulls in to see, he was curious and see what was going on. And then he realized that, oh, it's just Farmer Dre selling his tomatoes. So having that abundance of product, it really creates interest in the customer's eyes, and they're wanting, the more you have, the more you're gonna sell. And this is very controversial with the theory of scarcity. If there's a few, then you're gonna sell a whole lot more, depending what market you have and depending how you're willing to sell your product. But over the years, we have found out that the more tomatoes you can put on your table, the more you're gonna sell. And I've seen it year after year. We go to a lot of farmers markets. We're currently doing 6 farmers markets a week, and we even buy extra space, extra booths at the farmers market. Even though we don't have many varieties of products, we just have like fruit, peaches. Like this time of year, we have peaches, blackberries, tomatoes, and baked goods. So just 4 different items, but we take a 20 by 10 booth at majority farmers markets just so we could put as much product as we can on as many tables as possible, just because the more you have, the customers are gonna appreciate that, and they're just gonna come to you because you have that much. So another thing I wanna mention about the pile 'em high and watch 'em fly is a fast transaction time. So a lot of people don't realize how long people can wait in line at a farmer's market. I've seen it year after year where, you know, the sweet corn guy, or, you know, the guy with tomatoes or watermelon or cantaloupe, you know, they just, in my opinion, and not bashing anybody, everybody's got the right to do their own thing, but you know, I see a customer who's waiting in line for 2, 3, 10 minutes, and you know, you're like sitting there and you kind of feel bad for the customer just because they've been sitting in the line for so long. So for us, the reason we get so much extra space and we fill up so many tables of produce is multiple customers can be buying tomatoes at once. One thing on our peaches that we do is we pre-bag them at home, and all we do is we have them pre-bagged on the table. So let's say a customer wants us a bag of peaches. You know, we sell them for $10 for a half peck. You know, all they want is peaches. They walk up to me, they hand me a $10 bill, they grab the bag, and they're out of there. You know, it takes 3, 5, maybe 10 seconds per transaction. So the more room you have, the more table space you have at farmers market, the faster the transactions, the more customers you could help at one time, and the more money you're going to be making at the end of the day. And you know, farmers like to be proudful and say, oh, I had a 10-foot line today, I had a 20, 30, 50-foot line today. But if you have a 50-foot line and it takes you 3 to 10 minutes per customer, you know, and let's say average customer spends $10 and I service, let me say 2 to 3 customers a minute, I just made $30 a minute by the time you're making, I don't know, $5, $6 a minute. So it's all about that transaction time for us, and the more customers you can serve, the more money you're making. So that's why that concept of just having as much of the same type of produce or product on the table. You know, we fill a table full of peaches, tomatoes, blackberries, and the baked goods. So very simple, but customers like to see an abundance. So number 4 on the list of how you can make more money selling tomatoes at farmers market is never to sell out. And this sounds, you know, kind of hard to do, but hear me out here. I'm going to try to explain it as best I can here. But if you sell out of your produce or your tomatoes at farmers market, you haven't served every customer possible. And if you, let's say you sell out early, then those customers at the end of the market that want tomatoes don't have none, and then initially you're losing money. So if you're able to extend your season and have a certain product like tomatoes, you know, like for us here on our farm, we have tomatoes May through October. You know, you have tomatoes for 5 to 6 months out of the year, and you try to have as much at the farmer's market so you don't sell out. You're serving as many customers as possible, and then initially, it's the same idea, never try not to sell out. You will serve as many customers as you can, initially making more money at the farmer's market. Going to farmer's market, I've seen this year after year, week after week, where someone has, let me say, 100 pounds of tomatoes, they set them out on their table, and they sell out by 9 o'clock, and they're so prideful of themselves, you know, oh, I sold out a product, I sold out of tomatoes, and then I bring 400, 500, 600 pounds, as many as I could take, and I don't sell out. Everybody's, oh, this guy didn't sell out. But yeah, I've already sold 400, 500, 600 pounds of tomatoes by the time you sold 100 pounds, and then you're just going around telling all the farmers that you sold out a product and you're doing so well. Well, I'm sorry to hear, pal, that you know, if you're selling out early at farmers market, then initially you're just losing money, and that's just, you know, that's a dumb thing to do. You're already spending your time, you're waking up early, or you're prepping everything, and you're putting your time and energy and going to market, and if you're not serving every single customer possible, then in my opinion you're just wasting your time, and you should just stay home and try to do more with your life. No, I'm just joking. But the main goal of it is try not to sell out. I've seen this, like I said, year after year, where you know, someone says, oh, I sold out of tomatoes. That's great, but you've lost, you know, 2-3 hours of customers that you could have served. It's much harder said than done. It's not hard. It's not easy, you know, having product, you know, that much, having that much of an abundance. But if you're trying to serve every single customer at farmers market, then at the end of the day, you're initially making more money, and then all your customers will be happy, and then they're going to come back to you week after week just because they know that they're 100% sure they're going to have the same beautiful top quality product every single week without having the risk of selling out and having the risk of you not having any. So, you know, in a way, like I said, all these things can be contradicted and all these topics can be you know, debated real quick, but you know, if you serve every customer initially, at the end of the day, you're not losing any money. And number 5 on the list, and this is just kind of like basic sales in general, if you're just trying to sell anything in life, is just be super nice and be very appreciative of the customers that are coming to farmers market. You know, us farmers during the summer months, we get really exhausted, we get really tired. I've seen this, even, you know, I've caught myself doing this, is, you know, you're at market and, you know, it's really hot, you're really tired, and then you just get into like this mad, you know, just kind of just an annoying attitude, and you just get annoyed of everything. And, you know, a customer might come up to you, and you're just kind of, you know, at the end of the market day, you're just having a bad day, and you're just kind of tired, exhausted, and you don't give that customer 100% of your time and energy, then you initially have lost a customer. And, you know, I've heard of this over the years, and I've seen it. You know, if you give one customer one good experience, they're gonna tell one friend. But if you give one customer a bad experience, they're gonna tell 20 to 30 friends. So, you know, it's a lot of work to be extra nice and to be very appreciative of all your customers. But at the end of the market day, I understand and I know, you know, we do so many a week. It gets exhausting. You know, it's 90, 89, 90 degrees, really hot, really humid. And at the end of the day, like on a Saturday afternoon, you don't wanna, you know, once 12 o'clock hits, you don't wanna mess with any more customers. You've had your share of customers for the day. Just wanna go home and just take a break for a while. But, you know, you might have a customer that comes in, you know, at 11:59 or even 10 minutes before closing. And I've seen this where other farmers just kind of blow them off and just whatever, you know, just go buy from someone else. And, you know, I open my table up and, you know, I still have everything on display, and I tell my customer, yeah, come on, buy my tomatoes from me. I'm more than happy to serve you. And that customer is gonna remember that one great experience they had. And, you know, if you're being extra nice, really polite to your customers, they're gonna remember you, and they're gonna remember, you know, and they're gonna remember that you appreciated them as your customer. And another thing to add on to here, and I guess I'm only doing 5, but number 6 is, you know, being very consistent of the people you send at the farmer's market. So here on our farm, we make sure that I go to the same farmer's market every week. My brother Isaac, he goes to the same farmer's markets every week. Adrian, same thing, he goes to all the same farmer's markets, and we keep things very consistent, very, you know, in line, just so that if you give a customer a good experience, they might not remember your name, they're gonna remember your face and how polite you were. If you send somebody else, you know, an employee or a sibling or your wife or your husband, whatever, and, you know, they don't see you, they're not gonna recognize, you know, your farm, or they're not going to recognize who you are. And I've seen this so many times. Since we do the You Pick Care on our farm, you know, a lot of customers at farmers market, they come up to me like, yeah, I've already went to pick blackberries. I was out picking strawberries. And I was like, where'd you go to pick this stuff? Oh, the place off of 13. I'm like, yeah, that's my farm. I was the one that grew those strawberries or blackberries for you. So they don't really connect the dots, you know, by the name of the farm or anything. But if they see a face, they're gonna automatically connect and know who you are. So that is the 5 steps you can make more money selling tomatoes at farmers market. First of all, flavor and quality tomatoes just in general, having beautiful produce, pricing, pile them high and watch them fly is one of my favorites, just because we see it week after week and it puts a smile on my face every single time. It's never selling out, and you guys will see if you try and strive to plant as much product as possible and try not to sell out, you'll see that your numbers at the end there will increase. You're gonna have a lot more customers. Your customers will be much happier. And then treating every customer the same, regardless of the time of the day. And you know, you will have more sales. You're gonna sell more product. Your customers are gonna enjoy you, appreciate you more. So yeah, those are the 5 steps of selling more tomatoes at farmers market. Alrighty, y'all, that's gonna be it for today. If you guys haven't already, go and hit that subscribe button, smash that like button if you guys enjoyed today's video. Don't forget, hit that notification icon so you guys can be notified whenever I do upload a video. I want to say thanks for watching up to this point. Y'all have a good day. We will see you next time.